time for football in Pleinsmer Football with Steve and Steve.
Somebody fire me up!
Welcome to Plainsmen Football 2016 with Steve and Steve. Coach Steve Hayes to my immediate right. Not sure how to open this up, Coach, but it happens every once in a while. You don't play well, things don't go together, and the other team seems to have things work on their side. Anyway, Plainsmen played last Friday night, Oklahoma City McGinnis, as everybody knows in Oklahoma, a 5A powerhouse, and they showed up with a little power as they won 44-14. It was as close as 24-14 through the ball game. And I remember as the game opened up, the Plainsmen are going down the field. Coach, it was 4th and 2. You go for it. You get it. It's 4th and 1. You go for it. I mean, the drive continues to go. Mm-hmm. And then, boom, the intersection down on the two-yard line or something, just really kind of everything came to a screeching halt at that time. Mm-hmm. But still, it's 17-7 at the halftime, but 20 fourth-quarter points for McGinnis. So you're probably scratching your head saying, this wasn't on the plan tonight. So your thoughts?
You know, starting the game, we had talked about whether or not we wanted to defer if we won the coin toss, and we knew that their kicker was really good. We have a really good kicker, and we figured that whichever team received the ball was going to start on their own 20 because it was going to be a touchback. And so when we won the toss, we chose to defer, figuring that, you know, we would get a 3-and-out, they'd kick, we'd get much better field position, have a chance to go down and score. And, you know, up to the point where we got all the way down to the 1-yard line, it worked perfectly. We kicked to them, it was touchback, 3-and-out, they punt to us, we get the ball on about our 45-yard line. We drive all the way down to the 1-yard line, get a penalty, a holding penalty that backs us up to about the 11. You know, things kind of went in reverse from there. And that was kind of the story of the whole game, in that we just repeatedly shot ourselves in the foot. I think we ran the football well. We had about 225 yards rushing, which is a good night. Will Phillips had 175 of those yards. Defensively, we stopped the run really well. McGinnis really didn't have much going in the running game, but we did not throw the ball well, and we did not defend the ball as far as the passing game on defense well at all. We did a terrible job on third down, both offensively and defensively, in that we did not make first downs like we needed to, and we had the ball, and we had several third and longs against Bishop McGinnis offense where we allowed them to make a first down and continue drives. And so the McGinnis played well, but I also think that we have to improve considerably based on those things.
Coach, let's go back to that drive where there was, I believe, the first time it was like 4th and 2. You decided to go for it. Then another few plays, again, it's like a 4th and 1 or fourth and 3, and you go for it again. It's obvious that you have confidence in your offense. The ball's moving and the team's working together.
Yes.
And it's a no-brainer, no decision. Oh, yeah, it's 4th and 2. We can make this. Let's do this and move on. Yeah. Tell us at that time in the game, what's the thought and the feel, if you will, on the things on the sideline? What's everybody thinking?
You know, on our standpoint, we think scoring early is really important. I think for us offensively to be successful and from a confidence standpoint, we want to get that first touchdown on that first
And you
drive.
have such a fast pace to add to that.
Yes.
That the defense, the opposing team is saying, "Whoa!"
Kind of get them on their heels.
Yeah, exactly.
And not playing as aggressive. And I think, you know, that first drive, we had a 16-play drive. We didn't score, and that's kind of rare, especially from 55 yards away. Just didn't, you know, it worked out great to the point where we didn't score. We got to the 1 and didn't finish the drive, and you know, we didn't finish in the fourth quarter, and we didn't finish on third down. And I think, you know, that's really our theme this week is finish, and that's our theme for the year is finish the fight. And we did not live up to that, in my opinion. We can do better. We need to do better.
Coach Hayes, it was, 8-9 seconds before halftime, and you score, so you go into the locker room at half, 17-7. Tell us the thought and how the team is thinking at that time, 17-7.
Wow, the last minute of the first half was a wild transition. They scored, kicked the ball up to us. We score in 4 or 5 plays, going fast. We're real excited about that. It was a part of a long run by Will, and then a great scramble for a touchdown by Darian. Then we kick kind of a squib kick and recover it. And we have the ball with 17 seconds left to potentially get even more points. And so really felt like that last minute of the half we'd gained a lot of momentum going into the half just because of our kids' ability to make plays. Don't know that our execution was necessarily great, but we were competing, and that was pretty important, knowing that we were going to get the ball to start the second half. I think our big mistake in starting the second half was we went 3-and-out immediately. We got 0 points or 0 yardage.
Sure.
out of having the football.
Coach, you got as close as 24-14, and still very reachable, very obtainable goal to take control of the ball game. And then tell us about the 20 fourth quarter points. Was there fatigue set in, or just outplayed? If I could use that phrase, and I don't mean that in a negative sense.
I think that's a good word. I think in some respects we did get outplayed. I think we were pressing at that point in time because we were behind, and our inability to throw the football on offense put our defense on the field more than they needed to be, and then our defense couldn't get stops, and so it kind of avalanched on us at that point. In large part because we had to change our game plan offensively and what we were wanting to do. We had to score quickly. Provided them with more opportunities to score, and they capitalized, making for a larger margin of victory than maybe the game really should reflect.
Coach, in my limited observation, the previous couple of weeks, you've been able to throw at will. I mean, you just move the ball, throw right, throw over the middle, throw out, just throw the ball. But last Friday night, that wasn't the case. What do you think the offense learned about themselves with the inability to throw the ball?
Well, I mean, I think completing a pass is a byproduct of so many moving parts. It's good protection by both the offensive line and the running back. It's good footwork by the quarterback and accuracy on the throws. It's good route running by the receivers and being where they're supposed to be when they're supposed to be there. And I think if any one of those pieces is not working correctly, you're ineffective in the passing game. And on any given play was any aspect of the passing game. One time it was a protection error. It was a back and protection error. It was an accurate throw by the quarterback or a poor route by the receiver. And so everybody has something to work on this week.
It seems like in the passing game, the emphasis or what the fans see is just the quarterback throwing the ball, hoping the guy will catch it, if you will. But I appreciate you pointing out all those different entities. They all have to work together. The line has to provide that protection.
Well, and you go back to that first drive, we completed 2 big passes on third down to extend the drive, and those were snapshots of what a good passing game really looks like. It had great protection, great route running, great timing and accuracy on the throws, and it was just a pretty much automatic. And so I was feeling really good at the start of the game, first half of the first quarter, in that we were clicking, we were on rhythm, things were working well. Defensively, we were playing well, had them on their heels, and then we made some mental errors and really could never quite regain our rhythm.
Understand. Thank you for staying with us or joining us today on Pleinsmer Football 2016 with Steve and Steve. Coach Steve Hayes, a special guest, as we look at Pleinsmer Football every week. Again, last Friday night, lost to Oklahoma City McGinnis, 44-14. We'll talk a little bit about, I think it's Putnam City West. It's coming to town. For next Friday. We'll talk about them in just a few moments. Coach, we're moving into the highlights section of the show. And before we show the highlights, tell us what we're going to see. What are some of the highlights that the viewers will see today?
Offensively, you're going to see some very good runs by Will. One's a run that sets up our touchdown by Darian Goins at the end of the first half, a long run, and then Darian scramble for a touchdown. You're also going to see his third and short run where he gets hit in the backfield, breaks a tackle, and runs about 30 yards for a touchdown. Quite an impressive run. See some great line blocking on these plays as well as far as creating big holes. Line did a great job of getting our backs to the second level Friday night. I do feel like that was a part of the game that we did do well, as we ran the football quite effectively. So you'll see that in the highlights. And then defensively, you're going to see some great plays by Josh Faulkner, Trent Musa, and some of our other defensive front as they do a good job of shutting down the McGinnis run game.
So for a sophomore, your running back is he's putting a smile on your face.
Yeah, he's pretty electric in the open field. Yeah, he also has some areas that he needs to improve, but man, when he gets into space, he's very dynamic.
And I want to say special thanks to the coaching staff of Enid Plainsmen, because they put together these highlights for us, and we're able to do some technical things to play them back for you. But we appreciate their work after hours, extra hours, if you will, of cutting these highlights, setting aside these highlights so that we can share them with you. So let's take a look at the highlights of the McGinnis Enid Plainsmen football game from last Friday. Let's look at those highlights right now. Welcome back to Pleinsmer Football 2016. It's our privilege each week, Coach Hayes, along with myself, Steve Keim, to bring you the highlights, if you will, and just kind of rehash the game of the previous Friday night. And I'm just excited at the achievement that the Plainsmen team is making, even though there was a loss Friday night. There is still, Coach, I know there's a lot of optimism. There's still a lot of excitement because you can do that comparison game of last year at this time to now, and you know that you are trying to get everybody going in the same direction, but you're really making headway. Well, I'm excited about this segment. It's the opportunity we get to introduce our student athlete of the week. And to my right is a senior at Enid High School, Jackson Crockett. Jackson, welcome to the Enid Television Network studio. Appreciate you being here. And Jackson is an offensive tackle. If you haven't noticed, he's twice the size of Coach Hayes and myself. Coach, you always bring these big guys, and it's a good thing you got big guys.
It gives me a sense of security, Jackson's a great example of that. Jackson, why don't you introduce yourself, let everybody know what your name, number, position, and classification, so when they come on Friday night watch the game, they can pick you out.
Okay, well, I am Jackson Crockett. I play the left offensive tackle on the offensive line, and I am number 76.
So he's the blind side tackle. One protects our quarterback's blind side, and made that term famous for that movie. And there's a reason Jackson's there. He's a great offensive lineman, and he's kind of a Renaissance man in a Neanderthal's world, which is kind of a neat deal.
So, excuse me, Jackson, how tall are you?
I'm 6'2".
6'2", and how much do you weigh?
250.
Okay, so you got some speed with that, right?
Yeah. He's probably one of our craftiest, smartest linemen. He's a 2-year starter. He started for us last year as well, and we're just tickled to death with how well he's playing this year. He's a big reason that our running game has been as successful as it's been.
Jackson, tell us a little bit about, left tackle, blind side, if you will. Explain that to the viewers that they may be well versed in that. There's somebody watching and say, well, what do they mean by the blind side?
Well, what they mean by the blind side is when you have a right-handed quarterback, the left side is where he can't see. So if anybody comes in, he's going to get hit really hard, possibly really injured.
So you're his insurance.
Yes.
Yeah, Darren's in good hands because of Jackson. Now, Jackson, talk a little bit about how you feel like you individually and as an offensive line we've improved since last football season over the offseason up to this point.
I think we've improved really well in the kind of the mental aspect of the game and kind of the family brotherhood type aspect, that we all have the one common goal and just to go in and put it all on the line for each other.
Yeah, and I'd follow up to say that I think our offensive line probably is one of it is the tightest knit group on the team. There's no doubt about it. You've had to also go through a transition with a coaching change, and two, I think both coaches are outstanding coaches, but different in some ways. What are some changes that you have made as a result of having a different coach this fall?
I really think the new O-line coach, Coach Smith, has really kind of catered more to my style of learning. He's more technical, and he talks it out, and so I feel like my footwork, which is really important, has improved tremendously since Coach Smith has been here, and just my and gaining size has given me a lot greater confidence in my ability.
How much weight have you gained in the offseason?
I've gained 30 pounds this offseason.
And so definitely helps you on that side, doesn't it?
Oh, yes.
There's no doubt about it. I'm happy to hear that you said that.
Coach, excuse me a second. I know that football is 14 months out of the year, basically. It's no longer 12 months out of the year. And you were just talking about the weight gain of 30 pounds. Can you just share with our viewers how does that work, if you will? And somebody says, well, I gained 30 pounds. I don't look that way. It's all part of conditioning, the right foods, and lifting and so forth, right? So it kind of explained the process that everybody's going through for the right kind of weight gain.
Well, if you number it, Jackson went through 120 workouts from the end of last football season to the start of this football season. And so, if you're working hard in 120 consecutive workouts in that amount of time, you're going to see tremendous gains. And Jackson does a good job with his diet as far as eating well. And we had weekly weigh-ins on Friday. Every Friday was weigh-in day. And Jackson was consistent that every Friday he was putting on a pound or two over the course of that time. And that's why, you don't gain it in a week, and it's not good weight if you do. It's just fat. And what we want is we want to gain muscle, and it takes time to do that. And Jackson did it the old-fashioned way, a pound at a time, once a week. What do you feel like you need to improve on over the next 7 football games in the playoffs as well?
I really need to work on. I think is my. I really think it should be my pass set.
Mm-hmm.
My pass set can improve a lot, kind of, and not stepping under myself and get somewhere with my first step. And I also need to work on getting lower, so I can get underneath people and drive them out of there.
Yeah. I think that last thing is true for our entire offense right now. We're playing too high and therefore not as physical as we need to be, and we're going to work on that this week. Jackson, you're a good student, have great grades. You're also taking concurrent hours, right?
I am not taking
Okay, but AP type classes,
AP.
yeah. And obviously you have plans for college next year. What are your plans for when you graduate in May?
Well, right now I applied and have been accepted to Oklahoma State University, and I plan on going there next fall and studying aerospace engineering.
That's fantastic. That runs in the family. Your father's a pilot, so that makes sense.
Well, Coach, let me interject here. I have one question for you, Jackson, as we close out this student-athlete segment. As a senior playing football, the camaraderie, what are you going to take away from this experience playing Pleinsmen football?
I'm going to take away just the brotherhood that I've built with all these men and all the friendships that will last a lifetime, I believe, and just the common, just the mindset, just the common work hard and work together to get what you want.
Well, you added a little statement to that you think those relationships last a lifetime. I believe they do. They do. So there's no I believe to it. They'll hang on for the longest time. So, Jackson, thank you for being here today. We appreciate it. And ladies and gentlemen, again, our senior student athlete of the week, Jackson Crockett, number 76, and he's our blind side on the left side, left tackle for the Enid Plainsmen. Again, Jackson, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
And we're going to talk about the character quality focus of the week as we do each week, and we'll do that right after this timeout.
My name's Xavier. I'm a senior linebacker.
Trent Musa, senior linebacker and tailback.
John Carroll, senior, offensive guard, defensive tackle. Ivy Mays, junior, linebacker.
Hayden Priest, sophomore linebacker.
Again, thank you for taking time to stay with us on Enid Pleinsmer Football 2016 with Coach Steve Hayes. I'm Steve Keim, and we appreciate the opportunity to really focus on assistant coaches and also student athletes, the highlights, and just really the thing that I enjoy, Coach, is that to understand what coaches are thinking and experiencing. You know, we can see the game, but we can also see the frustration on your face. We can also see the joy on your face. And so it's good that you're able to share behind the scenes, and we appreciate you doing that. Character focus this week, you said something to me earlier about courage. Last couple of weeks have been about trust. And I noticed that Jackson said something about how that quarterback has to trust his left side or his left tackle to protect him. Tell us more about the courage part.
You know, we want to really visit with the kids, and I think this is a good week after a loss to talk about something like courage, because having courage is a choice. It's dealing with your fear in an appropriate and healthy manner. And I think it's important to cognitively walk through that and realize, you know, we have discouragement, we have fear, we have anxieties, we have self-doubt. I think that's a part of the human experience. You know, and life is hard. You know, football game is really not that big of a deal. You know, you find out you have cancer, that's a big deal. Losing a football game, that's 1 week deal. But I think they both require courage to handle them correctly. And I think football season and losses help prepare kids for the things in life that really matter and the things that they're going to have to overcome in life that really matter. And we're really going to focus on that this week as far as how do you deal with discouragement, how do you choose to have courage in the face of fear, and how do you choose to face an opponent that this week is going to be very talented and a very difficult opponent to beat.
And I think you can tie the success of a coach to be able to share those experiences and educate the student athlete on this is kind of similar to life stuff, like you're talking about. And it's really easy to get caught up in just losing a ball game or winning a ball game. But when the coach is able to communicate to that young young athlete, life stuff happens.
It does.
Monday through Thursday can be perfect, and then Friday can just fall apart. What do you do on Saturday?
Yeah.
Do you just stay and have a pity party, or do you just get
You're
going?
Right.
So
you're right.
Well, let's look at next week's opponent, which is just really days away, and it's a conference game, if I understand it correctly, your first conference game.
That is correct.
It's PC West, Putnam City West. They're off to a 2-1 start. They lost last weekend to Sand Springs, I believe. It was like 29-24, kind of close.
That's exactly right.
But Putnam City comes to town, be at Selby Stadium. I know that I spoke to my real good friend, Ken Mendenhall. Have you met Ken?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
He's coming back for his 50th high school reunion.
Great.
And Ken was an All-American at OU. He also played for the Baltimore Colts, not the Indianapolis Colts. But anyway, Ken's coming back to town
That's exciting.
on Friday and to be part of the 50-year reunion. So I know he's excited to see the Plainsmen play Putnam City West. Now, this is the Putnam City team that's got the couple of Division I ball players. I'm trying to remember which Putnam City team has a receiver that is just tall and can catch and run.
Putnam City West has very high expectations associated with the program this year because of the senior talent that they have. They have a 6'5" quarterback who was very successful
right.
last year.
That's
they have
right.
a 6'5" split-end receiver that was already committed to Memphis. They have another 6'3" split-end that has multiple offers. He's figuring out where he wants to go in college. Have several returning starters on defense, and they're all very athletic. And, they were one win away, the game against us, from making the playoffs last year. They had a 21-point lead at halftime, and we were able to come back and prevent them from making the playoffs for the first time in a couple decades. And so, starting the district, they've got to feel pretty confident about their chances this year. They've shown great stuff on the video. Very, very talented, explosive, athletic football team. They're definitely going to be a great test for us and really great opportunity for us to rebound and show what kind of team we are. Last year we found a way to get it done, and basically we're facing the same team again this year. We need to find a way to get it done again.
Coach, as you go into this week, first conference game, does the mindset change a little bit? You had the non-conference schedule, if you will, and now this is conference where it really counts. Is there different emphasis during the week, or is it just football?
No. I think that it is different. I think in non-district games, you're looking to gain experience with a lot of kids. I think now you begin to narrow your lineups a little bit. I think some of the major players play more reps and more snaps. I think you start pulling out some of the more complicated formations and schemes and stuff where you were working more on your base stuff prior to this, and now you really strategically do more to try to win a game. And I think you see that from your opponent as well. The stakes are higher. These games count. Non-district doesn't matter at all. It doesn't impact who the district champion is. It doesn't impact who makes the playoffs. It only is a preparation for the games that start this week. And so, I think there is a very different attitude about the season beginning with today.
And Friday night should be a ball game that the ball is in the air.
Yes.
A lot of throwing from both sides.
Yes.
So Putnam City West comes to town on Friday night at Selby Stadium, and we encourage everybody to come out and support the Plainsmen. Again, the first conference game of the year. Well, we'll have coaches' closing comments right after this timeout. Thank you for staying with us on Pleinsmer Football 2016 with Steve and Steve.
Coach Kyle Young, safeties.
Welcome back to Plainsman Football. Coach, always look forward to hear your closing comments on how we wrap up our weekly show. Plainsman 1-2 could very easily be 3-0, 2-1. I mean, there's all kinds of variations. But as you said earlier today, there's not much time to, I guess, feel sorry for yourself. You got to get ready for next Friday night. And so the focus here on Monday is, hey, we got to get ready to play football.
You're exactly right. You feel bad Friday night. You're angry about it Saturday morning. You go over it with the kids, and you got to get ready for the next group. And I tell the kids all the time, Putnam City West doesn't feel bad for us. They don't feel sorry that we lost. They're glad, and they're looking forward to giving us another one. You better get ready. And that's a lot like life. You get knocked down, you got to get back up. You got to let it go, and you got to move on. You can't wallow around in it for a long time. And so we've done that. We've moved on. We're going to fix some things this week. We're going to have a tough week of practice, and we're going to get ready for a really good opponent in our first district game.
Coach, is another 7 o'clock start?
Hopefully
Okay.
the bus arrives on time and we don't have weather.
Yeah.
But the plan is to start at 7 o'clock Friday night.
Okay, because I noticed sometimes here in September we've had some severe weather kind of move in. It even happened on some college games
You
across,
bet.
across the country. But again, 7 o'clock this Friday night, Putnam City West comes to town with the 2-1 record. Be ready to play the Enid Plainsmen. Any other closing comments?
I just appreciate all the support of the community. I think really in a lot of ways we feel like we let the community and the high school down in the way that we played Friday night, and we want to make that right. We want to make sure that people that watch the game are proud of what they see. Homecoming this week, we'll have a lot of people come in town that are associated with the past years that have been very successful, and I think it's important that we make them feel like that our high school is playing at a level that makes them proud and proud to be an Enid Plainsman.
Well, I've already spoken to some alumni, and they are excited. Win or lose, they're excited to come back to support Pleinsmen football.
That's good. I appreciate that. I definitely feel that.
Thank you for being with us this week on Pleinsmen Football 2016 with Steve and Steve. It's my pleasure always to visit with Coach Hayes to hear what he's doing with our student athletes and also the assistant coaches as well. So we look forward to discussing, again, Pleinsmen football with you next week. Until that time, make it a great day.
Thank you for watching Enid Plainsman Football with Steve and Steve on ETN.